Buenos días, raza. ¿Cómo amanecieron? ¿Cómo amaneció su día de hoy? Good morning, everybody. I hope your day started with a nice cup of coffee and a donut on the side. Espero que su día haya amanecido con una tacita de café bien tapadita. Yo quiero cafecear con ustedes. I want to gossip with you about things that sometimes we do while we're at work, and we know we're not supposed to, but we still do them. And not being able to find a reason why you did it. But something impulsed you to do it. Cosas que haces en tu trabajo y no sabes por qué lo hiciste, pero algo te impulsó a hacerlo. Today's 10-minute Vamos a Cafecear is about a story in the Bible. It's in Luke 15, verse 11 through 32. And you'll find it in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John because all these books are similar. But each one of these persons heard the story their way. Just like when you read a book and it's a similar version of the same person that's sitting next to you that read it, but you have your twist on things and they have theirs. But the story's there. It's the story of the prodigal son. But let me tell you what happened. I was sitting at work one night in a tent here in Willacy County with 50 females sleeping. They were all asleep. And it must have been between 4:30 and 5 in the morning. They weren't supposed to be up till almost 6, but I don't know. I was sitting on the desk and then I turned the TV on. And when I turned the TV in that tent on, I walked towards it because I wanted to have it low. I wanted to hear what was going on because I saw a minister talking. I don't know who he was. I don't remember. It's been a lot of years. But I remember the story that he was saying. And he was talking about the prodigal son. But not really. So that's what caught my attention. Being a person that was raised in the Pentecostal church, I know the story of the prodigal son. But this man started off with reading the story of the prodigal son, but then saying, we're only going to talk a little bit about the prodigal son because I want to talk to you about the father of the prodigal son. And I'm like, wait a minute, I want to hear this story. El hombre estaba hablando del hijo pródigo, pero luego dijo, pero no vamos a hablar mucho del hijo pródigo, porque yo quiero enfocarme en el padre del hijo pródigo. And I'm like, oh, espérate, esta historia no la he oído yo de esta manera en la iglesia, porque pues yo me crié en la iglesia. Yo sé la historia del hijo pródigo. La empecé a oír lo que él estaba diciendo, y él estaba diciendo que tenemos que llegar hasta mero abajo para poder regresar para atrás. You gotta hit rock bottom before you go back. Y el hijo pródigo era un hombre rico, pero no educado. Nos damos cuenta que no estaba educado. ¿Por qué? Porque no hallaba trabajo. El único trabajo que él halló fue dándole de comer a los cerdos. How do we know that this man was not very educated even though he was very rich? Is because he didn't find a job. The only job he could find was to feed the pigs. That was the only job that he could find. And his pride was getting in the way. He had already lost all his money. He had already lost all his friends because he didn't have money. And he's And he still was like, I'm not going back to my dad because I can still work. But then the only job that he could find was feeding the pigs. Y había perdido todos sus amigos, y había perdido todo su dinero, pero todavía el orgullo estaba en el medio de él y de regresarse para atrás, porque todavía decía, yo puedo trabajar. Pero el único trabajo que halló fue dándole de comer a los marranos. Y cuando deseó la comida de los marranos, ya había llegado hasta el punto de abajo, lo más bajo. When he wanted the food that they were feeding the pigs, that was hitting rock bottom. His pride was gone. Ya no tenía orgullo. So se regresó para la casa de su papá. Pero hay 3 cosas en las que yo quiero que ustedes se enfoquen cuando él se regresó a la casa de su papá. El viejito estaba sentado en su porch mirando todos sus trabajadores. Recuerden, él estaba viendo el horizonte. He was looking at the horizon. The old man was sitting on his porch looking at all his workers. And he was looking at the horizon of his farm. His vineyard, the end of the road. But at the end of the road, he saw a person. Allá al final de la calle, él estaba viendo que venía un hombre para donde él estaba. Y se empezó a enfocar en esa persona. He started focusing on that person that was coming towards him. Y de volada empezó a sonar sus dedos y decir, hey, quiero que me traigan 3 cosas para acá de voladita, porque mi hijo viene para la casa. My son is coming home. I want all my servants to hurry up and get me 3 things. I need a robe, I need some sandals, and I need a ring for my son that's coming over there. Can you imagine what the son looked like when he was coming from wherever he had left to, faraway country? ¿Se imaginan cómo se miraba el hijo de esta persona cuando venía para atrás de una ciudad lejos o de otro país y todo mugroso, todos los zapatos todos rompidos? Pero él venía rumbo a pedirle a su papá algo. Pero su papá lo vio primero y le habló de volada a sus sirvientes. ¡Hey, apúrenle! Tráiganme estas 3 cosas que les pedí. Una capa, unas sandalias y un anillo. Enfóquense en esas 3 cosas, porque cuando Dios te restaura, no te va a restaurar a medias. When your Father restores you, He's not gonna restore you halfway. And whatever you did before when you left, doesn't matter. Lo que hiciste antes de que te fueras, no importa. Si pidiste herencia antes de que te fueras, no importa. Él corrió con las 3 cosas a toparse con su hijo. Recuerden que en esos años los sirvientes no usaban sandalias. Remember that in the old times, servants did not wear sandals. They didn't wear shoes. Only the masters of the place wore shoes. That's one thing that we need to focus on. When God restores us, He restores us completely. That man didn't care how his son looked. He grabbed the cape, put it over his son, and hugged him. And probably told him it doesn't matter what happened. He took his son's feet and put shoes on him. It doesn't matter. You're going to step again and you're going to be firm on what you're doing. Then he took a ring and he put it back on his finger. Do you know that ring represented that he was completely restored? Anything that he did, any contract that he did, if he couldn't pay for it, his father had restored him, and all he had to do was put the seal on it, and it would be a done deal. Being restored by the Father is the most important thing when you are a true Christian. Now, I'm not saying that I go to church, But I'm saying that sometimes God puts you in the right place to hear the right